Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Jumping straight in today, going straight to Microsoft cannot make a phone and they couldn't make a browser, but they can make an app store. And apparently they also can now make a browser. But that's separate. We're going to talk about the app store. Microsoft's Xbox division's head, Phil Spencer, has hinted at the possibility of Microsoft releasing a mobile game store in the next year. Now, this would expand their presence in the gaming market, and apparently this completely hinges on the Activision deal going through. Then they plan, I think what their plan is to make a store that, if that goes through, they're going to release an Apple App Store, Google Play Store, like, store of their own. Like, I think the Microsoft Store basically is going to come there. And then I think they'll probably try to do the same thing to Sony. We don't know anything. They just hinted at it, but this potentially could integrate with the Xbox ecosystem, allowing for seamless gaming experiences across all of their devices, and could include things like cross-platform, shared game libraries, cloud-based saves. There's a lot of things this could actually be doing for people that would make it really easy. Now, the EU does have to do the Digital Markets Act for this to become activated, according to Microsoft. And with their success of their Game Pass subscription, could that also be coming to everybody, including mobile gamers? Question mark. It'd be pretty sweet if, say, Call of Duty came to your mobile phone. Maybe it was only cloud-based, but it came to your mobile device and you were able to play Call of Duty that way, or whatever else. I'm guessing that Epic Games probably has something similar kind of planned here too. Obviously, they already have their own app store, but releasing it back on Apple and Google Play Store, maybe. We'll have to see kind of what happens here. It'd be weird too to see Microsoft jump into the mobile gaming market with like an Xbox game store, but apparently it's something they're thinking about and might actually do. We're gonna have to wait and see. But I'm excited to see this, especially because Xbox has definitely gone more of the way of, hey, you can get our console, but you're gonna want to get the subscriptions. Our console's gonna be cheaper for that, and clearly they want to continue that trend going this direction. TikTok, however, is trying to get banned for a second time. I don't really know what's even going on with TikTok, to be honest. I thought that the ban had already kind of happened to the US. I thought that they had made them have like a US division and not go to China at all. I thought all that had happened, but apparently I was mostly wrong because they're not actually banned, which I guess I knew that, but they have hit 150 million monthly users in the US, which is like just shy of half the US population, which is wild to think about that one app has about that many people using it. The number of monthly active users has increased by 50% since 2020, when I thought TikTok was at its biggest. And now the CEO will testify before the House of Energy and Commerce Committee, and Biden is threatening to ban TikTok from the United States unless the app agrees to basically not share any of the stuff with China or the Chinese owner and becomes its own like independent thing here, pretty much. And this is something that we've flirted with two administrations now, and we're still nowhere with. Other than it's not allowed on any government devices anymore. And the other interesting thing here is a dozen U.S. senators unveiled a bipartisan legislation that will potentially expand Joe Biden's legal authority to ban TikTok nationwide without the need of a ton of votes and stuff to really go through. You can just kind of will it into existence, which is fascinating to see why they've focused on this one app specifically. Is it great that they're collecting all of our data? No, but all these U.S. companies are doing it anyways. All these U.S. companies can't keep our medical data safe. So why does it matter if they're just getting it themselves versus waiting for us to leak it? There's no inherent difference. The TikTok fight just seems like a weird one at this point. Just tell your population, hey, we don't recommend using it. We know they're doing this, and this, and here's why we think that's bad. And then expect your population to innovate and make their own competitor. Just because yours can't doesn't mean you should just ban it outright. When you just are upset that you can't steal our information because they're doing it better. They're being babies. Just figure it out. Move on. Just like 7-Eleven will be moving on with charging. So this is kind of the first major gas station to announce doing their own charge network. at least to my knowledge, EV charge network, that is. So they plan to build a super fast charging network in North America. It'll be fully owned and operated by 7-Eleven and will be backed 100% by green energy, which will be interesting to see how that really comes together, if they're going to install solar panels at all of these gas stations, or how they're going to determine clean energy, like where are they going to get it from and know that 100% of it's clean? Or is it just like, this could have all been clean energy? It might not have been, but it could have been. We're just going to have to wait and see. Now, in 2021, they actually announced roughly 500 DC charging points at 250 locations by the end of 2022. I don't know if that actually ended up occurring, but the plan is to really grow it out here this year, at least starting this year, and it'll be available to all electric vehicles, which is fantastic to see. Hopefully they do something similar to like the Tesla setup. Actually seems pretty sweet. The retrofitted level 4 chargers actually look pretty cool, on how they just like use the adapter depending on what you're doing, and it's all in the Tesla app. Be great to see one app for all of it that's functional and reliable in the way that, like, yeah, the app needs to work, but is it going to tell me for sure, if it says there's a charger available, is there a charger available? And if there's not, or if it's broken, like, it needs to know, because it needs to be as easy as getting gas for your car. And especially right now when there's not as many chargers, if you go to one and it's broken, it's not like there's a gas station competing across the street you can go to. Like, that could be a big deal for somebody with an EV. That light died, and we just got to figure out a better way to do it, which Acer is apparently very much trying to do by implementing AI into a bike. So the first smart bike, I'm going to call it the EB. It's EBII. Not sure how you're going to pronounce that. But it's going to add a bunch of AI features, including the ability to basically adapt to ride conditions, learn how you typically pedal based on like the grade, the weather, all of that stuff, and then figure out your preferred level of resistance or assistance for those situations, and then optimally switch around how much the bike's assisting you doing those things. So say you don't really like going uphill, the bike will help you maintain that speed. Say you enjoy going faster downhill, the bike will help you get faster downhill. Essentially is what's going to be happening here. It'll also be able to charge your phone. It's designed for urban commuting, so maybe there won't actually be that many hills, but the bike will at least learn stuff like, how fast do you like to go over this environment? When you're in this area, how fast do you want to go? How slow do you want to go? If it's super bumpy, how can it adjust to do that better? There's a lot of things that we're going to see happen here, and I don't know what else they can really do with AI for bikes other than, maps maybe could be projected in front of you, or maybe there's this holographic screen that is in front of you that you can look and it shows you, like when you're doing the Google Walk. Is that what it's called? The Google Street View, but you're navigating on your phone by foot, and it can show you like an AR view of your turns. Something like that could actually be really cool on a bike, especially if you were doing like Uber Eats or something like that and doing deliveries. It'd be cool to see like your right turn is here and just shows you like in the road where you gotta go. All things to come soon, hopefully. Just like we're going to talk about electric hydrofoils. So, Swedish tech company Candela has secured an additional 210 million Swedish krona. Is that how you say that? It's about 20 million US to bring a electric hydrofoil to the water in mass production. And it's called the P12, and it's going to apparently be launching this summer. Now, the advantage of doing a hydrofoil is that when you're raising the vehicle out of the water at cruising speed, there's way less drag on the vehicle. And I believe you can turn sharper, and there's some other benefits in terms of handling and stuff as well. Downside is when you're not at that cruise speed, you have a little more resistance, and it's going to be powered by an electric motor. So what does that mean in terms of range? You're looking at about 50 nautical miles, which is 57 normal people miles, or 93 not American miles. And at its most efficient speeds is around 2/3 of its max speed. And its max speed is about 30 knots, which is about 34.5 miles per hour, or 55.5 not American units, thanks to its 55 kilowatt motor. So I don't know what the average distance boats go, but 250 nautical miles doesn't sound like that much. Especially if it's a hydrofoil. It doesn't seem like you're going that far. But at least, hey, more things are going electric. It's cool to see they're trying hydrofoils again and they're trying to make them electric. And we'll just have to wait and see what this really becomes. If it actually goes anywhere, if this is like another one of those, new startups that goes a little bit and then takes a sharp right turn into the deep sea and disappears forever. But I think that's it for this episode. With that said, I will catch you guys in the next one. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll be back tomorrow for the next episode of the podcast. See ya.